What's going on, keepers? I'm Kane and this is Noodle. And today we're going to do a tour of our reptile room and everything that we've got. And since this is a tour, we might as well go ahead and show off Noodle while we've got him right here before we kick the intro. So this here is Noodle, our pinstripe ball-pied python. This is the first ball python that we got. Technically not the first reptile because we did get some crested geckos first. But this is really the one that got it all started. And with that, we'll get going on our tour. Alright, so for starters, we're going to go ahead and kick through all of our ball pythons. First off, here we've got our boy Salt. This is our super lesser male. He's the father to most of our bell hatchlings that we sell each year. And also, since we've got Salt out, this is a good example of one downside to solid white snakes. And when they decide they want to roll around in their own, well, you know, then they look dirty like this. But Salt is our love boy, and he's the first on the list. Second up, we've got our banana pied ball python male. We don't have a name for him yet, so if you want to suggest one, drop it down below. Next up, we've got our banana het pied female. If you've watched recently, we had a clutch. She was the mother to that one. This is our pinstripe pastel, our lemon blast ball python. She's actually up to lay any time now, so I'm trying not to handle her too much. Unfortunately, she did just have a bad shed, so that's why she looks a little flaky, but we'll get that taken care of. Next up is our orange dream pinstripe piebald female ball python. You may have seen that we got her recently, and I actually get to show off how pretty she is this time. So, and we named her Peach. So, the last one I forgot to mention, the other banana het pied female, she doesn't have a name either, so also if you want to suggest one for that. So here, we've got one of our stars of the show. This is Sugar. This is the mother to all of our bell ball pythons. She's actually a little feisty. I think it comes from naming her Sugar. It's kind of like naming a dog Lucky. But anyway, she's a sweet girl and she does a lot of work for us here, so we still love her. She is a super Mojave female. Here we've got Stormy. She's just a plain piebald ball python, but she's a beautiful example. And this girl actually came from Chris Hardwick. I'm sure a lot of you know him. So that's a pretty cool little fun fact. Lastly, of the breeders, we've got our bongo pied male. He's going to be our breeder for next year. His name's BB. So he wasn't big enough to go this year, but next year he's definitely going to be running on the list. And lastly, for the ball pythons, since we won't be showing up the ones we're selling, which you can see on our morph market, is our lesser Mojave bells. But this is our pet Pebbles. He's actually almost a year old from last year. He was born with a lot of issues, but he ended up making it through. And we've still got him, but I'll leave it at that because we're going to do an episode about him on his own one day. He is an albino pied ball python. Yep. So next up, we've got our Junglo Boa. He's a male. We got him from B&T's Radical Boas and Pythons, one of my good friends. And yeah, he's just a baby. He was born this year. We're excited to have him. His name's Peanut. Alright, since we're already over here at our breeding rack, here we've got Mars. He just got an upgrade, I mean just a few days ago, to this 40-gallon enclosure. I'll throw up a picture of his previous 20 and his 10 somewhere up here. But let me show you his new setup here. So, here's Mars. He's our pixie frog. And you can see nothing too crazy. Got a little pothos, got a little grass. And yeah, his new little setup, he is just loving. He's got a good little pond back here, which he honestly spends most of his time in. But yep, this is Mars. He's one of our fan favorites over here. He's Michelle's frog. Alright, moving to one of our favorite boys of the house. This is like one of our dogs. This is Scales, our black and white Argentine male tegu. He's a super cool boy. cute as could be. We just love him to death. Ain't that right, buddy, huh? He is, we've had him for just a couple of years now. He's got a little spot on his mouth right here, if you can see it. Because when he was going through puberty, he liked to jump up at the lights. And he scarred his lip up one day, and it kind of healed that way. But yep, that's Scales, our black and white Argentine Tegu. Ain't that right, Scales? Huh? Like I say, I love him to death. Moving down below, this is Tiny, our Burmes Python. She is actually a jigsaw morph, which isn't real popular, and basically that just means her pattern is broken up a little bit more, but we'll go ahead and get her out so you can check her out. This is her enclosure as well. I did not mention when I was going over Tegus, both of these enclosures are 8 foot long, 3 foot deep, and 2.5 foot tall. We actually built them here on this channel. If you look back on our videos, she's a super sweet girl. We've had her for a little over 2 years as well. We've grown her up from a baby. She's never tried to bite me outside of her enclosure. She's just as sweet as can be. I can put my hand all on her face. I can hold her around. She's a little bit wild tonight, wanting to move around because we had her out earlier. But the only time she did bite me, just a little quick fun story, I've got her hook trained, so anytime I want to get her out, I tap her with a hook and then I get her. So one night I thought to myself, well, then she knows me. I'm in here all the time. She's not going to know any different. So without getting my hook, I just reached in there to grab her. And as soon as my hand touched her, she touched me back. Because she knows she eats in there and she does not out here. Of course, that wasn't her fault. That was my fault for not following the rules. But yeah, this is Tiny. So over here we've got our African Sulfurs. Now obviously we breed these for feeders, but regardless if their end goal is to be a feeder or not, we like to take the best care of any animal that's in our care. And these right here are some very sweet African Sulfurs. People accuse these of being mean and ferocious all the time. Honestly, they're just as sweet as could be. You can pull them out. You can mess with the babies around the moms. They just do not care. These girls are just as calm and cool as possible. So they're not aggressive like you hear online. And the ball pythons don't get addicted to them. But that's a whole other story for a whole other episode. So moving over here, we've got our crested geckos. So we're going to go ahead and get the first one out. This is our tricolored male. And actually, he's fired up pretty good right now. He's real pretty. Along with, I'm sure I'll get some love for this, because I know how people are with cohabbing, but this, if I can keep a hold on her, is our tricolored female. She's looking pretty well at the same time too. Now I know some people are going to say about cohabbing, look, we've done our research. There's a lot of major breeders that do cohabbing. We personally feel there's nothing wrong with it. I understand and respect if your opinion differs, but that's just our personal opinion. We've kept them together in the past, and we know advanced years-long breeders that have done the same. Moving on from that, we've got our solo male up here that we are still looking for a female for, and actually since he's right here, well, I thought I was just going to pick him up like that. But he's fired up pretty well too, actually. This is our tiger. He's just a straight tiger. I'm not extremely knowledgeable on the crested gecko morphs. I think maybe a little bit of harlequin, but we're looking to just breed him to something that's really strong tiger. I'd like to work with that. I know it's a more natural gene, but I think it's really beautiful and underworked. Right here, we've got some for the future. So we've got 2 different clutches of ball python eggs, and they should be hatching out any day now. And lastly, we've got 2 new additions that you may or may not have seen on the channel, but this is our 10-year-old breeding pair of Dumerals Boas. We do plan on upgrading these to a bigger closure, but we just recently got them and this is what they came in. So we gave it a refreshing and we got them in there for now until we can get something bigger. Let's get those out and give you a look at them. So this right here is the male. This is Papa and she's Mama. So we named them that because they're a little bit bigger and a little bit older. But I just love the contrast on his pattern here. I think it's beautiful. I love how it stands out with the whites and the darks. And he's a pretty good size and weight for his length and age, I believe. But with that, we'll go ahead and get her out and let you take a look at her as well. And lastly here, we've got Mama, or as we like to call her, Big Mama. And I think it's obvious why. Now she is just a little bit heavy for her size, if you can't tell by me streaming. She may be just a little on the thick side. Now that's no control of ours, this is just how we got her. But she is a pretty big girl. She's got a few marks on her and a few things of personality. She's about 10 years old like the male. But yeah, this is our last one here that we wanted to show off. This is Big Mama. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching today's video as always. But I'm sure you're wondering, hey Kane, wait a minute. Where's all the aquariums? What happened to the fish tanks? Well, as we've been saying in multiple videos, we're trying to get ready to move. And honestly, I don't mind moving live animals, but what I don't want to move is boxes full of water with aquatic fish in them. Because it's a lot more work. You have deaths, you have issues, or some of your heaters or filters quit working, things die, plants die, your water gets muddied up. I don't want to go through it. So as much as it saddened me, I just went ahead and sold all the aquariums. I know, it's shunned me, but I think it's going to be a lot easier on us to move without having to move all those aquariums. I feel like this right here is not a big deal. This is like 2 trips and we can take it all in its stuff. That was going to be a major deal. But the fun part of that is, and wait, we're not going to get out of aquatics. We're not done with aquatics. That's where we started. Now, am I going to get back to 26 tanks? I'm going to try not to. We're going to try not to. That is the goal. I would like to get maybe about 5 somewhere in their tanks and really just do my best with them. Because they're on the end, some of them are going downhill because I just had so much to keep up with. But I just said all that to let you know, no, we don't have any aquariums right now, not even one. But we're not done with aquatics. Once we get moved and we get the animal house set up, it's game on then. We will be getting back into aquatics and we will be getting the ball rolling with everything else. But anyway, I feel like that's enough for this video. So this is what we've got going on right now. And like I keep saying, we're going to get moved and we have a whole building dedicated to aquatics and reptiles. So be ready, because this is just the start. Yeah, alright guys. As always, remember, your hobby can bring you joy, but only Jesus can bring you peace. I hope to see you guys in the next one.